Today I would like to present our paper on the title Hyperreality of Black Lives Matter Movement on Social Media. My name is Aulia Pradana from Universitas Diponegoro as the first author, and my co-author Saifa Tania from Universitas Gadjah Mada. The death of an African-American George Floyd, who involved white police, has sparked outrage and demonstration in many U.S. states. The Black Lives Matter hashtag was then widely used on social media when the protests held, using content analysis of social media sentiment comment on Twitter and Instagram. The study found that social networking sites used to mobilize online movement, even though they are not directly related to the Black Lives Matter movement. On the other hand, hashtag activism reduced the true meaning of social movement. Eventually, it gave rise to the phenomenon of hyperreality was no longer about massive protests demanding justice and ending violence. This study wants to examine to what extent the hashtag activism on social media shifts to simulacra beyond real reality. Hence, the Black Lives Matter movement becomes blurred, or a reality that goes beyond the fact, namely resistance to. Based on data released by the Crowd Counting Consortium in 2020, the scale of the crowd of protests is extraordinary. On June 6, for example, at least 50,000 people appeared in Philadelphia, 2,000 to 20,000 at the Chicago Park Union, and 10,000 at the Golden Gate Bridge. Throughout the United States, there have been more than 4,000 demonstrations, or an average of 140 per day, since the first protest began in Minneapolis on May 26, as shown in Figure 1. Furthermore, it is more than just a movement to complain about the injustice and racism of Black Americans. It means that in this study to examine the extent to which this movement has dominated social media with all the enthusiasm for presenting its existence in the virtual world. Therefore, it is better to first understand the ethic of this movement. What is the most important problem that the Black Lives Matter hashtag issues bring up on social media? Since its first appearance, the Black Lives Matter movement has been aimed at fighting law enforcement, and the problem has become widespread, involving racial issues, police brutality, and racial inequality in America. This was an urgent issue and deeply linked to the protest movement on social media level. However, the movement is becoming more vocal and massive on social media than in the real world, and the media plays a role in obscuring the initial reality of the movement. Furthermore, what the cyberspace movement is trying to show is far from the spirit of action fighting for racism. Most hashtag activism is a simulation produced by each social media account as an affirmation of presence in a movement. The argument from this research is there is a leap in a reality that is blurred from the purpose of the actual protest. Although on the one hand, it can increase awareness of resistance. Internet has become an essential facet of modern existence. The progressive cyberization of our lives seamlessly bridges the divide between the online and offline world. As the Internet seems to be able to mediate more egalitarian interaction among its users, some might predict that the disentanglement of identity from physical self will usher in a post-racial utopia. However, in reality, the Internet is a place where race continues to wield deep significance, conducted by Fang 2016. The study is inspired by research conducted by Harlow in 2012 regarding the BlackLivesMatter hashtag activism. According to Harlow, study using content analysis shows the framing, topics, and function of online comment encourage offline action by emphasizing protest and asking others to participate and spread the news. The research shows that comments are framed in such a way as to motivate others to engage in the movement and participate in offline activity, whether attending a protest or signing a petition. According to this finding, online and offline action are seen as typically closely integrated. Sandoval and Gill present a study on the use of social media for activism in cyberspace. Sandoval and Gill propose an analytical model to understand social media users in the case of Yosoy 132 in Mexico at the time. Their findings are the emergence and evolution of cyberspace movement as well as a shift in the power of traditional media. Even so, all of the studies or research carried out previously by Harlow, Sandoval and Gill, and Fang, leaving a loop related to the aspect of reality. These studies have not been looked at from the perspective of the possibility that the activism hashtag might have shifted from its actual reality. Therefore, the study is trying to enhance the perspective by offering concept of hyperreality. Of the research that has been done by Wolny in 2017. To be specific, the study is aimed to provide exploration toward how to see the participation of social media users in the realm of cyberspace doesn't consistently represent the reality of the movement itself. Social media present an illusion to make us believe that reality outside social media is not a reality that matters to us. Social media is considered the only meaningful reality because it presupposes the presence and existence of individuals who have the most value, so that social media becomes hyperreality, no longer a level of simulation or false representation of reality. But reality itself is completely different. Hyperreality is closely related to simulacra, because simulacra are what produce hyperreality or beyond reality. According to Baudelaire, conducted by Barroso in 2019, hyperreality is the most obvious characteristic brought or created by simulacra through social media. Baudelaire added that simulacra mean that social life is considered over. People are trapped in simulacra, and their social life ends due to the simulacra. Difficult to distinguish between real reality and fiction in life. Of course, social media has an essential role in the formation of simulacra, which result in individual social life trapped in it. In Elias's dissertation mentioned the distinction is social distance caused by taste of choice. For example, the construction of a white supremacy movement with the hashtag White Lives Matter by conducting by Ostertag 2019 appeared on social media as a counter movement. It will indirectly have implications for the Black Lives Matter group assessment, which considered the White Lives Matter movement to have a different ideology. The distinction to occur on social media between the two groups arise because of choice to defend different tastes or race. Both of them seems to want to strengthen their respective glories on social media through a hashtag war. By conducting a literature review and content analysis, as well as website analysis using the Media Toolkit software, the aim is for researchers to obtain a comprehensive analytical framework from the start to see the extent to which comments and posts on social media have a meaning related to the action of the Black Lives Matter movement. So, by carrying out various combinations of content analysis, literature review through social media, researchers can be further approached with various data collection action which are then analyzed. On the other hand, mixed technical methods in research on social media trends are still developing, so that they can be more visible and stable to be used by future studies. By using the Media Toolkit as a data scraping step, we have obtained results about impression, total conversation on Twitter and Instagram, and sentiment towards Black Lives Matter hashtag. The data collected, as previously explained, is taken from the span of May 29 June until June 29 in 2020. Because even increased the number of post-Black Lives Matter hashtag since May 26, one day after the incident. First, the result of scraping data, there are 142 million shown in Figure 1, conversation impression, and hashtag that discuss the Black Lives Matter. From this total impression, in the end, what will be seen by netizens about the Black Lives Matter movement on their social media. Second, Figure 2 shows the comparison of the Black Lives Matter hashtag percentage on Twitter and Instagram. 63% of the Black Lives Matter hashtag were mentioned on Twitter, while 37% were mentioned on Instagram. Following the research of Isa and Heimerboim in 2018, it is illustrating that Twitter is more dominantly used in online social movement, while Instagram is indeed more widely used because of its association with visual power and its function has a simulacra effect on users. Next is about the Black Lives Matter hashtag conversation sentiment ratio. In Figure 3, it seems that conversation is dominated by negative sentiment of 52%. Meanwhile, positive sentiment was 48%. If referring to the Black Lives Matter protest agenda, this action is indeed a protest and resistance to racism since it strengthened in 2013. So it is not surprising that this movement is filled with negative sentiment that are in line with the spirit of resistant protesters. But of course, this discussion doesn't stop there. This discussion will explain to what extent the conversation and posts that have been collected can prove. This interpretation makes the world seem more accessible through digital platforms. and users involved in the virtual movement feel they have participated in the like for the same protest. The explosion of information events make the ability to understand the real world almost impossible. For example, the Black Lives Matter virtual movement found in this study through Alipasha official Instagram content display any image or visual that is not directly related to the protest. The Black Lives Matter social action reduced to narcissistic act of Instagram user by presenting himself posing dashing between the line of protester. That makes the actual event blur, raising questions over the emergencies of a protest. In the finding of the study, there is a process of reproduction as well as consumption, which is interpreted by each social media account to form an entirely new reality. The Pop-Buzz account and Alipasa official account, for example, both accounts show a reproduction of a reality that does not represent real reality, namely the Black Lives Matter protest. Pop-Buzz account describe Chris Sketzel posts showing posing during protest activities. That is can be interpreted by followers on Instagram as part of reality, beyond the original reality. Baudrillard adds that today culture is a represent of the simulated world, which is a world formed from a relationship of of random signs and codes without clear relational reference. This relationship involves real signs created through the production process, as well as false signs. We're talking about images created through the production process. In a simulated culture, the two signs accumulate and intertwine to form a single unit. It can no longer be recognized which is real, and which is fake, which is false. Everything is part of the reality that Western society lives today. This unity is known as simulacra or simulacrum, a word that is built up from the chaos of values, facts, signs, images, and codes. A reality no longer has any reference except for the simulacra itself. In the postmodern era, the principle of simulation has become the commander. Word production with information technology, communication, and knowledge industry replace the principle of production. At the same time, the play of sign and image domination almost all human communication process. In simulation society, everything is determined by the relation of sign, image, and code. A person's identity, for example, is no longer determined by and formed within himself. Identity is no more determined by the chaotic construction of sign, image, and code that form a reflection of how individuals understand themselves and their relationship with others. In the simulation mechanism, humans are created in a space that they consider real when in fact they are fake. Sketzel and Ali Pasha are broadcasting stories about actual events, but they are far from providing clear information for followers to access the actual facts. Social media plays a role in simulating events. While those who use social media create events that have all been reproduced through body poses, camera angles, captions, and hashtags, the simulation becomes easily consumed by his followers and believe in what Schedule and Ali Pasha did as hyperreality. For Bodia, they are involved in a protest movement and are willing to produce falsehood. They consider their followers in cyberspace can be deceived, fooled, and diverted from the real reality. Simply put, text produced on social media become copies of reality that are easily digested by others. Copies of reality are then enjoyed and mass rather than consuming actual technology brings people into cyberspace, a space that believed to be able to present virtuality. The construction of the virtual world makes people drifted inside, while the counterfeit social relation turn to be the simulation of social relation. In the world of social media, users are no longer passive viewers. Users interact, create, and dictate events or reality with other social media users. Users are screens, editor, reporter, and customer at the same time. The more intensive users connected virtually, the more likely will their life be engaged in the hyperreality world. What could be seen from the Black Lives Matter movement is not different. Instead of truly representing a protest movement, the Black Lives Matter hashtag was more likely to be used as a method to gain more awareness of users' social media posts that might not be related to the issue at all. The meaning of social media movement was reduced merely to narcissistic action. The underlying motivation behind it might be related to obtaining the number of likes as the considered measure indicator of self-existence in social media. Thus, expressing Black Lives Matter hashtag in social media could not be entirely seen as a form of concern or supporting a certain issue. Hence, for some social media users, they may use it to gain popularity as they might think that the virtual world is real. This condition might lead us to further discussion as hyperreality drifts us away from the real world and causes the death of reality. Thank you.